Don't forget you were going to pick up after.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it was probably nice for those kids too to have somebody on their side, to not be just by themselves, and just being like, well, whether it was coming back home to their parents and saying, these people don't understand me, or just like you said, even with the funeral, there's 4 days and someone says, that doesn't understand that. They're like, your kids missed 4 days of school. It's like, well, that's part of a tradition, and being able to be there and run interference for them and stuff like that. I just was going to.
Yep. I think that was an important aspect of the job, was to make those connections with the kids. Honestly, many of them were coming from dysfunctional families for whatever reasons. And to maybe be that one stability in their life. Mm-hmm. I remember the schools also would do, at the elementary level, donuts for dads. And
great.
so the kids could bring their father in
Yeah.
before school started to have a donut and whatever else to drink. And I remember one year, a lot of these kids didn't have a dad that was available to come in for donuts for dads. So these kids would ask me to be their dad, so they could go get it. You couldn't go in to get a donut unless you had a parent with them. So I think I had 8 or 9 donuts.
I was going to say, how did you stay thin? Is the question.
Of course.
Yeah.
He did all that running.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn down a donut.
Yeah.
But it was fun to be able to be that person for that child.
Mm-hmm. When was your first year that you started with the Wellness Center, and how did that come about? Had you been off and on with the Wellness Center? Because the Wellness Center was built in 99.
Just explain.
Yeah.
Do you mind just explaining to the people? Because what
sure.
it is, but I don't know if people would know what the Wellness Center is. So maybe one of you guys can either do it together or whatever.
I worked there, but you would know.
Yeah, I think it was built in 99.
I think that's right, yeah.
It is a multi-use facility operated by the Ho-Chunk Nation, built on tribal land. We have a clinic, an optometry, a dentist office, mental health services, child care, a pharmacy, fitness center, and aquatic center.
Yeah,
basketball court.
Beautiful.
It's a very nice facility.
Yeah. So for our tribal, it was originally built for our tribal members and for tribal employees.
Okay.
So they have access to the clinic and everything else there. But the fitness and the aquatic center was opened up to the community at large.
Okay. What year was that? Do you remember? I mean, is that
was
long
early
time?
on. That
It
was
was
probably like 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember people talking about it, like Kurt and stuff, saying that it was for a while only open to natives.
Yeah.
And then they decided to open it up, which is super nice because it's a very nice facility. I mean, hot tub, therapy pool, kiddie pool, locker rooms with sauna and steam rooms. I mean, just fitness center that's decked out with really great equipment, very big space. And so that's where
you guys met. Yeah.
I met Lance.
Yep.
Through Scott Gilbeck.
You were an intern.
Yeah. Remember the first day. Sorry, Scott. Don't mean to. But I remember.
Scott watches this.
Yeah.
I remember the first, maybe you don't, but you were the supervisor, fitness supervisor, and I came in. Scott said, yeah, show up. I'll let Lance know that you're coming in. And I remember coming in and you not being there right away, which, whatever, it wasn't your fault. Scott had never talked to you. I think it must have just slipped under, Anyway, I showed up and you probably were like, who's this? I was like, hey, I'm Hudson. I'm supposed to do an internship here. And Scott said that he was going to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So that's how it started out. I don't even remember what we did, but it was a lot of fun.
Either. Yeah.
It was,
good time.
I think I just followed you around. You would do stuff and kind of.
Well, not much to do then.
He liked you. He liked you immediately.
Well, I like him
he liked
as well.
you. Yeah.
Very personable, easy to get along with, easy to talk to.
He appreciated your input in
Took
this.
good direction.
Yeah. 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 It
stood out in that.
How many years were you there? You're still there, right? You're still working
I'm there part-time now. Yeah.
Okay.
I went back under the tribal elder workforce division.
Okay.
Give me something to do in my retirement years. I think I started working for the Ho-Chunk Education Department in 96. And then I think in 2000, 2001, somewhere in there, I saw that they were looking for some part-time help at the Wellness Center. And so I applied and was fortunate enough to get the job and did that part-time for 1 year. By that point, I was fed up with working for the education department just because so many changes and, couldn't keep up with everything. Got fed up with that and worked 1 year full-time for the Wellness Center. And then I got a call from the Dells district administrator because I'd been a year without anybody filling that position that I had there.
Sure.
And they offered me a full-time position through the district, not the nation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so you did that till when? What? You remember the
up
year?
until about 6 years ago, I think.
Okay.
6 or 7 years ago, I left the district. But during that time, I continued to work part-time at the wellness, and then stepped into the full-time supervisor position.
What year was that?
I don't remember years.
Do you remember who? Do you remember who the supervisor was before you?
Who was it?
Or maybe
Good
that's
question.
not
Yeah.
a question that you can even answer. Maybe you're
I don't remember her name right off the top of my head.
okay.
Are they related, the Ho-Chunk Gaming and the wellness, or do the Ho-Chunk Gaming people get a chance to go over and use the wellness center or something? Or are they owned by the nation or what?
Both are operated by the nation.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Our facility is supported through revenue from gaming.
Got it.
And grants. As far as like the medical side and stuff, they receive a lot of federal grants and whatnot, but also the revenue from gaming.
Got it.
Any tribal Ho-Chunk Nation employee has access to the facility for a nominal fee. Ho-Chunks, any tribally enrolled member has free access to the fitness facility.
Had you been going to the wellness center before you were hired there? Were you a member there, if you will?
I did use it, yeah.
I see, okay.
I mean, they didn't have nearly the kind of equipment or the amount of equipment that they have now.
I see.
I think when it first opened, it had like same square footage, but we had like maybe 2 treadmills.
I mean, that's a huge
running
facility.
in space.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge facility.
Yeah.
Huh. That must have been almost ghostly to have 2, treadmills there in that huge.
Yeah, and then a couple pieces of weight equipment.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
I think we had maybe one like Schwinn bike.
Got a better.
The old Airdyne. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Demond will have to show what it looks like now, and people will be able to see.
I don't know if they have pictures of the old one. I know there was carpet.
Well, no, I mean even the new one.
Yeah,
Imagine what it would look like with 2 or 3 pieces of equipment.
It was really weird. I will say this: when we were there together, and like when the COVID happened and stuff like that, and there was nobody going there, and I was working down there, I would work out, and it was weird because it was just, you're so used to seeing lots of people coming in, and all of a sudden they're not because of restrictions and stuff. And I was working out in there, but there's nobody there. It was just weird because I worked there for 3 full years, I think, and that's including my internship. But that was it was just weird to have all those people there, and then all of a sudden it was like nobody could be in there. And
the fitness industry was one of the first industries to get shut down during COVID, and I think it's one of the last to come back.
Yeah. Are you finding that the facility is starting to be used quite a bit more, or is it still inching along? Kind of.
I would say it's inching along.
Okay.
here it is, a week after the New Year, and we have not had the big influx of the New Year's resolutioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough because there were some places, and I won't get into it very deep, but there were some gyms that opened up earlier than us. So I'm sure that took, scattered a fair amount of people from.
Oh, absolutely.
Because although the fitness center and everything is really, really nice, it's been slower to open up.
Yep.
And so you lose people that want to still work out to places like Planet Fitness or, wherever it is that they go. So you
Yep.
just
I
lose
think
people.
part of that, part of the reason that we didn't open up as quickly as some of the other facilities is I think because we are owned and operated by the Ho Chunk Nation, and they have put a premium on health. And so before they open up these types of facilities, they want to make sure that they're following protocols, that everything's going to be safe, and so really caring for people.
Yeah. Well, I just was going to talk about Lance is the guy who got me into. I really like kayaking. I like camping. I went with you on the Zion trip. I haven't ever taken a big trip like that. Dad's wearing the hat right now.
Repping the
Should
hat.
have my big straw hat that I bought from there.
I haven't seen that out. I don't
so
think
glad.
ever again.
I'm so glad that it didn't break on the plane trip. But anyway,
Talk about that a little bit. Talk about your Zion. Was that what you were going to do? Talk about your
yeah.
Zion
I mean, I was
trip?
just going to say that Lance was the one who
Catalyst, kind
took
of.
me kayaking the first time, and ever since he and I go kayaking.
Yep.
The camping, we go together. Lance is
He's like a professional
he's
camper.
what do they call
no,
that?
No.
Yes, you are. Stop it.
Well, I mean,
Stop
you
it.
maybe aren't, but compared to us, you are way. I mean, you got your nice conversion van and different things like
Sheena.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're what do they call that? It's like a level of whatever. I can't think of it right now. But like you're like the top level of camper, like a.
But it is nice to
Whatever
go
it
with
is. Yeah.
somebody
Oh,
that
it
knows
really
what they're
is,
doing,
yeah.
right? I mean, that's what you kept saying over and over again. You kind of muddle through it, and you learn on the go. That's not always the greatest.
And that's how I learned.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm learning from him all the things you need to have without learning the hard way. Except for the one time, Kickapoo River, when I went charging up around that corner, there was
Up the embankment.
got all soaked and soaking wet. I didn't bring many clothes, so fortunately he had extra clothes.
So who you guys went to Zion National Park back in May? Was it?
Yep.
Early May. Yep.
And you went. Dimitri went, who
Also
is a
works-
friend of yours and
Yep.
yours from the Wellness Center, and your daughters.
Both my daughters.
Both your daughters.
Yep.
Okay.
And one of my daughter's significant others,
And what are your daughters' names? May I
Kendall
ask?
and Kelsey.
Kendall and Kelsey. Okay.
And Kendall's married, correct?
Yep.
And Kelsey's, it was Simon. Simon was the Simon Seamus Gutters.
Yes.
Papanese. Yeah.
Yep. It had been a bucket list trip for me to go to Zion. I'd been to Zion probably back in maybe 2010, but just for a day trip.
Mm.
And that was when you could still drive in
Oh, okay.
and, didn't have to take the shuttles. So you could just drive in and hopefully you found a parking spot. And of course, back then it wasn't nearly as busy as it is
Sure.
now. So yeah, we always wanted to go back.
And was it, I mean, I know by the pictures that Hudson sent back and the videos, I can see why you'd want to go back. But was there something specific about Zion that you really, it's just that you didn't get a chance to be there for 3 or 4 days or whatever it was?
Having that experience of been there that one day, and the one day that I was there, we did do the, what's the big hike?
Angel's Landing.
Angel's Landing, yes. Friend and I, we were able to do it that day, and I knew there was so much more to explore, and just really wanted to get back out there, and fortunately we were able to. We were there 5 days?
Yeah, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And each day, progressively, the hikes got a little more challenging. And yeah, it was a great trip. Weather was perfect.
And you drove there.
Yeah.
Right, I drove because
Hudson and Dimitri flew, but you drove, right?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, because my oldest daughter, lives in Denver area,
Okay.
so I wanted to stop and visit them, pick them up.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter and Simon, they flew into Denver, and we all road tripped. So it was kind of make it a family
Yeah.
event as
They're
well.
from Tennessee.
My youngest daughter lives in Tennessee. The older one in
Yeah.
Denver.
That's who you just visited, your
Yes.
daughter. Yeah. Huh.
What we can do is I can put some pictures up
Yeah.
from
I'd like that again.
from our time there, because that was a lot of fun.
It was.
I waking up, making breakfast over the fire, and going out and getting ready to go out every single day.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was really exciting to get up, and everybody was getting ready, and it's like on to the next thing. You
Yeah.
didn't know what to, at least I didn't know what to expect and stuff like that. And everything was just, to me, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the best part was cooking meals over the open fire.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best part of
And
camping.
we had, you guys did a good job of planning.
Well, Kendall did all the food prep.
Yeah, and we had some good meals there.
You told us about some of
Yeah,
them.
I also have a picture of the bison meat and stuff like that you guys brought. So that was a fun trip overall, and get the
You
thing.
should share your picture of your s'mores or whatever.
The completely burnt s'mores that I forgot were on the fire. I think I was on the phone with you guys, and I came back and someone was like, "Yeah, your s'mores are over here." And I was just charcoal.
But then you drove back to Denver. Is that what you did to
Right.
drop your daughter off and then home? Or did you go some other places then?
No, I stayed in Colorado for a couple of days.
I see.
Went up to Rocky Mountain National Park, camped up there for a bit, did some hiking up there, and eventually made my way back.
Do you have other plans? I mean, you have other big trip plans or nothing in the offing right now?
Nothing on the schedule right now. Really don't know.
No more bucket list things as
There's
far as...
plenty of bucket list stuff. It's just
Okay.
a matter of finding the time to
Yeah,
to squeeze it all in.
Mm-hmm. Was part of the, and maybe you can tell me if I'm off limits here, is part of the bucket list, was that because of some health issues that you had too? Was that, or was that just...
I wouldn't say that it was due to the health issues. It hasn't put any, accelerated my bucket list timetable
I
at
see.
all.
Sure.
But it was at a point where I felt physically well enough to do something like that. Back in May of 2019, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. I am on the kidney transplant list,
Okay.
so we're still shopping for for a kidney. But because of my blood type, I was told that the average wait for my blood type is just a little over 5 years. So I'm about halfway through the wait period. My health has improved.
Good.
When I was first diagnosed, my GFR, which is a measurement of kidney function, when I was first hospitalized, it was at 7%. Now it is up to 19%. And that's primarily through change in diet, cutting out all the good stuff, bacon and all that good stuff that we like
so
to
a
eat.
burger a day doesn't keep the doctor away.
no.
Too bad.
Cutting out a lot of red meat, a lot of dark leafy greens. Just they're too hard on the kidney to
I see.
process.
No bananas,
I
right?
didn't know that.
No bananas. Yeah, I'm on
Which you almost
potassium.
always had bananas.
Right,
when
I
you
was
would
a
come
banana-
into the gym.
Yeah, I was a banana a day guy. I really believed in that. And when I was diagnosed, my potassium was off the charts. So I haven't had a banana since May of 2019.
Wow.
Does the GFI, is that what you call
R,
it? GFR, does that go to 100%, or does it
Normal
small?
kidney function, anything over 60 is normal.
Okay, so that was still quite low at 7%.
Oh, yeah.
I
Very
mean,
low.
Deathly
Very-
low, right? I mean,
And that's some people have asked me, was that one kidney or that's both kidneys?
It is
Functioning that low. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you want to talk about a little bit more about that? Like, because like when you went in, they drained a bunch of fluid from you. And maybe you don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, my condition was brought on because apparently when I would urinate, I wasn't emptying my bladder. So over time, that accumulated and it backed up into my kidneys. Mm-hmm. So unbeknownst to me, I was carrying around all this extra fluid. So when I was hospitalized, they inserted a catheter. And in the first hour, I think it was, they took like 1.5 liters of fluid. In the first 24 hours, they removed 7 liters of fluid. I was like, where was all that? Where was it?
Did you not feel bloated, or was you just kind of sickly?
I knew I'd put on weight.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have any swelling.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My bladder was completely stretched. I don't know what size, but
Sure, yeah.
But
well, that was the thing that you told me, is that it was a little bit wild because you didn't feel like sometimes when you're sick, you feel sick, or like something's wrong. You feel that something's wrong. You mentioned it. You didn't even. That's the kind of scary thing about it.
I chalked it up to old age.
Mm-hmm.
I had a back injury when I was in high school. So with cycling, after or during our long bike ride, my lower back would ache. Sure. And I assumed that it was my back issue. Now when I cycle, I have no problem staying in the tuck position for extended periods of time. I don't have the low back pain. So in hindsight, I can see that for years, I must have been suffering with this and just had no idea. Just chalked up all the aches and pains to old age.
It's amazing too that your doctors did catch it when they did, but it is interesting too that didn't show up very often, or maybe they just weren't looking.
Well,
for
I hadn't gone in for a physical for several years.
Okay,
so I decided it's time. Mm-hmm. I went into our clinic at the House of Wellness in January or early February, and said, it's been a few years since I had a physical. Can you schedule me? They said, well, we can't get you on the schedule till May. Like, that's okay. I've waited this long. It was a couple more months. And as soon as I got in, my blood pressure was off the charts. I forget what it was, 220 over something ridiculous. Doctor laid me on the table, put his hands on my abdomen, said, I can feel your bladder way up by your sternum. It was that full. Wow. And that stretched out. So that was when he said, you need to go to the hospital immediately. Do not go home. Mm-hmm. Wow. So I ended up spending, I think that first time, I was 9 days in the hospital.
Huh. Wow. That's a long time these days to be in the hospital.
Oh, and especially when I didn't feel that bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just have a couple minutes here yet, but I was just wondering, so you're waiting for a kidney, and you said shopping for one. You're shopping for the right one because of your blood type, or what?
Well, ideally they want a real good match.
I see. Okay.
Tissue match, blood type, all those things. The health of the donor, they take into consideration. I've had several people that have gone through the application process to be a donor.
Okay.
I've had 2 people that actually got to the point where they went to the hospital and ran all the tests. And one of them was a match, but it would have put him at risk to only have one kidney due to some issue he had going on. And the other one was a good match, but decided not to move forward with the donation.
Yeah.
Which is typical.
Yeah. So there's quite a bit more than just you've got a kidney, I've got a kidney, you need a kidney, I can give you a kidney type of thing. There's quite a few matches and all the different stuff you were talking about that has to go. Yeah.
Right. But there's UW Hospital has a program, and I'm sure other transplant sites have the same program, where if you donated a kidney to somebody else, but you did it on my behalf, then that ensures that I will receive a kidney much quicker.
Yeah.
So your kidney doesn't have to go to me.
Yeah.
Somebody who's been waiting on the wait list, who's maybe their turn, if you, let's say I were to give it, then that would push you up quicker.
Got it.
Yeah. I don't, is there anything else that we've got a little less than, we got about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
Is there anything that's really open-ended, but
Yeah. No, I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to sit and share some stories and a little bit about my life. We all have our own journeys, and we're all faced with different challenges throughout our lives. And you, as playing sports and whatnot, that we have our ups and downs, but it's how you react and
Move
come
forward.
back, and move forward.
Yeah.
And the big thing for me is I've had a lot of people tell me that through my kidney journey that I've always kept a positive attitude. And, the mind is such a powerful thing, and we really need to have that positive energy. Have I struggled? Absolutely. Have I had down days? You betcha. But that's not going to get me anywhere. So just keep your chin up and one day at a time and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And hopefully everything works out. Live another day to go catch big fish.
yeah, that's true. Well, I really appreciate your friendship. It was
Likewise.
there's people at the gym that I was friends with, but nobody that I was as close as with you and, probably Scott, because Scott was my coach and my boss. And so you two there's Kurt and other people I was fairly close. It was a great it was fun to work there and stuff like that, but you were in a league of your own. So I appreciate that. And
I appreciate your friendship too. We learn things from different people, and we don't know when or where those people are going to come into our lives or why or how. I hadn't fished in years, decades. And you got me back into fishing, and I appreciate it. You've shared your knowledge about what works and what doesn't, and what techniques. So
sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, he has good things to say about you ever since day one. And I've been looking forward. I was glad you came on, looking forward to meeting you a little bit, talking, hearing your story a little bit more. So thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Now, we've got 30 seconds.
Yeah.
This is the coupon for the Father-Son Voiceover Podcast prize table. But I hear that this is also going to be an all expenses dinner out with Hudson. So this you can
what a
cash
treat.
in.
I know it.
Lance.
All right.
So you can have something over there if you are able to, or
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
come on down.
Well,
right,
and we're
awesome.
gonna, if it's okay, I'll get a picture of you two.
Sounds good.
Because we always do that on the podcast. So thank you so much for your time.
You bet. My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank
Awesome.
you.